I think it would be nice to keep going with the number of messy churches we do, which is about 5 or 6 a year. It is very intense, it's a lot of work, so I wouldn't like to do them any more frequently than every couple of months. It would be nice, as Ingrid mentioned earlier, for the children to develop, and they will always be having new children coming in, but to see the progression with the older children, maybe reach out to them in a different way. It would be lovely if the children, started coming along to Sunday school or other church events. We did have a Sunday school stroke messy church barbecue in the summer, and some of the messy church children who aren't normal church attendees did come along, and that was very nice to link them into other church events. Maybe when we do our carol singing, the children might come along to that or something. So it's just a way of finding other ways to get these new children, these families, into Queen's Cross's
church family.
Yeah,
I also
church
think that
family.
There's a place for, I know people I've talked to about messy church, out of the church, and I've talked to colleagues, for example, who've said, that would be quite interesting to do at our church. And I know that there's one person who I've spoken to at school who is keen to come along and see what we're doing here and maybe import what we're doing here to their own church.
Yes.
So that could be another sort of form of outreach, and although it might not benefit our church directly, it would still benefit the greater church.
Before we did Messy Church, I went to another church's Messy Church to see what it was about. And it definitely helped our very first one, me at least knowing what we were trying to achieve, having been to a Messy Church. And I came from that Messy Church, and I wasn't planning on being a team member or leading Messy Church at that point. I was planning on just being a parent. But I came away from the other Messy Church thinking, well, I would do it like this. I think we should do that. And finding ways to improve. And I'm sure people who come to our Messy Church think, I wish we wouldn't do it like that, and I do this.
Well, every setting is different. And just as we have the advantage of the hall in the same building as our sanctuary, so it's easy to move to and fro. Well, some churches wouldn't have that, and it just wouldn't work the same. So you just have to think, I think, and plan for the building you have as well.
And the numbers.
Numbers
to
the building.
Because the other Messy Church that I go to, that I just go as a parent, they just have 2 or 3 ladies that run the Messy Church, and when you go to the craft table, there's just the bits of the craft, and you've got to do it. The parents have to do it all. There's not somebody from church at each table and things. So they do it that way because they haven't got the same.
So it's a smaller scale.
Yeah, it's just a much smaller scale, and it's still lovely, and we enjoy going. So.